new technique here. Morning, folks. Well, this is December 13th. I moved my camp over here to Freeman Junction. Got some interesting history. Back in 1873, where my trailer sits, they had a stagecoach stop. And one evening they left the stagecoach down in the wash down here because it was in the shade for the horses. And they had a flash flood come through, and it took the stagecoach, horses, and a couple men down the wash. And the water was about a 20-foot wave. And, took out the stagecoach station. Well, on the stagecoach they had a gold shipment, and all of this stuff was buried in the sand and rock, and they never found any of the gold. Now, over the years, people with metal detectors have worked down through there. They found pistols, shotgun, parts of the old stagecoach. Occasionally they find horse bones. Nobody's reported finding any gold. And, I'll give this a couple weeks try here. Well, I picked up the mail. I was really sad to hear about Grandpa, but nobody lives forever. And next to Dad, I think Grandpa was the most influential person in my life. Some of my fondest memories are fishing with him and the stories he used to tell about World War I and hunting and fishing. I'm going to miss him. I really appreciate the check. I could really use that. And the care package was perfect. I enjoyed every bit of it. John's letter, I really enjoyed the part about him not being Boone and Crockett Club, because I didn't get any. I thought that was kind of cute. And really enjoyed Dad's letter. I wish you guys could have had better luck deer hunting, but I didn't get one either. Although I did butcher out a roadkill, I did have some venison. Up there at Saratoga, somebody hit a deer with a truck and left it. Now, I'm going to take the video camera off the tripod. I'm going to make a sweep here and show you what I've got. It's a fascinating piece of history right here. This camp right here is 7 miles northeast of the camp I had before over on Bonanza Gulch, and I'll pan the camera over there and I'll show you that too. I really appreciate all of your letters. I'll try to write more, but I guess my feeling is when I send my camp notes, I start out with dear folks, and I always end it with love, Steve, and I feel that's a 30-page letter, so I'll try to write more often. You see, what happens, I get into town once every 2 weeks, and depending on where I go, if I go into Randsburg, they've got a post office. But if I go into Inyukern, they don't have a post office. I suppose I could leave it with the guy who runs the store there, and he could mail it for me. Inyukern is just up here. They've got a couple bars, gas station, a couple of stores. In Ridgecrest, where I get my groceries, they've got fantastic shopping. Half a dozen malls, small malls, kind of a strip mall. Well, I'm going to pan the film now and show you what I've got here. Okay, what you see here is the Los Angeles aqueduct. They get water from up north and then send it down to Los Angeles. And my battery light just came on. Hope I've got enough power here. I didn't charge up when I was in town. You've got a homestead down here, and you've got a lot of gold placer workings where the ground's been dug up down here. I'd like to try it, but it's fenced off. And my old camp was up here, about 7 miles away, right up on top of this plateau. And this, what you're looking at here, is Indian Wells Valley. The stagecoaches used to come up through here, along with wagon trains and other travel. Okay, now over here, you've got a place called Robber's Roost. Now, back in the old 1840, 50, right on up to the end of horse and buggy, you would have robbers up here, you'd have bands of Paiutes, and they'd have a lookout up there, and they'd camp back in here. And whenever the stagecoaches came through, they'd sweep down and just annihilate everybody and take the stash back up in here and bury the stuff in the hills. Over the last 30 years, since people have been using metal detectors, they have found over $100,000 in face value gold and money and silver, shotguns, rifles, pistols, a few bodies. Well, I'll spend a lot of time up in here, definitely. And back here you've got the Sierra Nevadas. These are the Paiute Mountains through here. The old stage sat down there in the wash, and when that, you can see the size of some of these boulders here that are carried down from the mountains when they get a flash flood. Some of them are as big as my truck. Now I figure the strongbox was lashed to the top of the coach, and as the coach was being broken to pieces by the boulders and the current, the strongbox, probably made of metal, sank quite quickly and rolled for a while. So possibly out here in the plains someplace where the water began to slow down, the strongbox, if it was broken up, the gold would be spread throughout this whole area. But if it managed to stay in one piece, it could be out where the water started dying down in velocity. Now I've got a 12-inch head on my, one of the heads is 12 inches on my metal detector. It goes down 4 feet, so I'll be using that one. Well, this is Lowell Thomas saying so long for now. And you folks have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and I hope to get this tape out before Christmas arrives. And thanks again for the letters and the check. I really enjoyed the care package, and you're the greatest people in the world. And I do hope you enjoy these tapes, because really they're for you folks back home. You know, I really enjoy making them, but I want you to see what I'm doing out here, and well, I'm recording a portion of my life. You know, long after I'm gone, my kids can watch these, and anyone else who wants to see what a gold prospector did back in the 1980s. Well, I'm doing some scouting around, and I found a slice of Michigan. It's the only running water I've seen for about about 3 weeks out here in the bush. I'm gonna talk to this rancher over here and see if he'll let me charge up my video batteries for a couple bucks. Well, I could run my sluice box in this. There's no current. I'm going to move my camp from the location I've got right here to the foot of Robber's Roost, because I'm going to be metal detecting here for at least 2 weeks, and probably take the bridge across. So long for now. There's a raven. I like to hear them in the morning. They're real squeaky croak. Tell you, after you pull out of a campsite, they come in by the flocks just looking for scraps of food that you might drop. I think they've learned by experience. Off in the distance here you can see town of Ridgecrest, 26,000 population. It's the base town for the China Lake Naval Weapons Center. It's a nice town, real nice shopping. I like it. Quite a few movie theaters. Being a base town, I looked around for shady ladies. I didn't find any. And from Ridgecrest, my camp will be set up over here, base of Robber's Roost. I was just down over in here, down next to the wash, and I found this right on top of a piece of hard packed ground. Now the last number is 3, and I can't make out the other numbers. I don't know how far back the buffalo nickels went, but I'd be absolutely flabbergasted if it was 1873 when that stagecoach went down the wash. Well, where I found it, they had just done some excavating down there, and apparently over the last few months, a little water washed over it and cleaned her off enough so I could see it. I'm going to take my metal detector down there right now. Generally, where you find one coin, there's usually several when you're metal detecting. At least it's always been my luck. Right next to Ridgecrest is a little suburb of Inyo-Kern. Got its name from Inyo County and Kern County. It's right on the county line. Got a lot of chula cactus here. They grow about 3 feet high. They're real swiney buggers too. Well, we'll spend a few hours metal detecting down there. See what I can come up with. Got a lot of creosote bushes, and my battery light keeps flashing. So, good morning. This is the morning of December 14th. Temperature 60 already. It's supposed to hit 75. I had a visitor yesterday. He drove up and he works for the California Water and Power Company. And I was talking to him and I said, who lives in the house over here? And he said, well, I do. That's furnished with that's part of the job. And I said, well, you know, I was going to go over there and ask that fella if I could give him a couple dollars to recharge my video batteries. And he said, no, you just bring them on over and no charge at all. And I took him over. His name is Walt Barker. And got a real nice place in there. It's all irrigated, nice pine trees, very shady and cool. And he said, why don't you bring your trailer over here and you can keep it here, hook up to the electricity, use the swimming pool, and he said you can stay as long as you want. Apparently there's something about me that people, they just like, I don't know. But I said, well, I think I'll take you up on that a little later in the month, but right now I'm going to head over, set up camp at the base of Robber's Roost. Apparently starting in January the area is quarantined off because the golden eagles make their nests up on the top up there, and they don't want people in there harassing them. So I'll get my work done up there, and then Walt told me that the old stagecoach stop is down near these big trees. He said the foundation is still there. I took a walk down there last night. I couldn't find the foundation, but after I spend 2 weeks up on Robber's Roost, I'll spend a couple weeks down there detecting. Looking for the old strong box and that gold that was supposedly in it from the stagecoach. Oh no, I found another coin in the same spot I found the buffalo nickel down here. And let's see if I can dig it out of my pocket without dropping anything. Okay, this one right here is it's a 1910S. It's in good shape. Of course, I think most of your coins out here that you're going to find are going to be S mints, San Francisco. Probably won't have that many Denver and Philadelphia mint stamps out here in coins. Well, I'm going to have some breakfast and head on up the ridge to Robber's Roost. Of course, when I travel, the place is usually messy. Just finished taking my sponge bath. And read all of your letters, and I tuck them all away. When I get a letter from you folks, it's like getting a box of candy, mental candy. Very enjoyable. Just love those letters. It's always nice. I never have to make my bed. Always throw the top of the sleeping bag back to air it out during the day. Well, finish up my coffee and head up on to Robber's Roost. One thing I haven't tried yet, and I'm doing it right now, is setting up the tripod in the passenger seat, taking video. See how it comes out. As long as the tripod stays in one place. It's a little bumpy here, so I'll kind of hold this one leg here. Get over the hump. There we go. Now we're on the sandy stuff. Pretty good road. It's right here. It's basically sand and gravel. This right here is fairly level. Not that many washouts. Any place you get a steep incline, though, you tend to get washouts. No entry behind sign, February 1st, July 1st. Solitude is required for successful nesting. What I'll do is go up the road and park right at the base of the outcrop, set up my camp. And if I start finding things, I'll probably leave February 1st. Be out of here. And then go back down here to where the old stagecoach station was and work down there for a couple weeks. Well, I'm up here at Robber's Roost. I've got home all set up, squared away. You can see where the birds are nesting, where you have the white spots on the cliffs. They nest back in the holes in the cliff faces. They won't start till probably the middle of February. Well, I think right now my thinking is I'll spend a month here and metal detect all these little crevices and cubby holes and the surrounding hills back in here for anything the Indians or the bank robbers left from their stagecoach heists. Now I'm right at the mouth of Sage Canyon. This is Sage Canyon Road that goes back in. And 20 miles off to the northeast is Ridgecrest. And I just checked it out. I get excellent television reception. I get my favorite radio program, public broadcasting. And down here you can see Ed's place. And Indian Wells Valley below. And here's the Black Mountains over here. And the camp I had set up before above Bonanza Gulch is right over here on this, up on this flat. And down here about 45-50 miles is the town of Mojave. And 70 miles over here is the town of Barstow, California. Looks like a nice area. We're supposed to get winds this afternoon, 25-30 miles an hour. I'll have to put my awning back in. And it's supposed to come out of the west, which will be coming from this way. I'm kind of sheltered right here. I've got that rock outcrop. And then tonight it's supposed to hit 40 miles an hour from the north. North is this way, so that outcrop is going to protect me. I don't like those 40 mile per hour winds at night. It's really a bitch to sleep. The wind whistles and rolls the trailer. Now the little suburb of Inyukern is right here beside the metropolis of Ridgecrest. 26,000 people, Ridgecrest. Had some low-flying jets come over just after a set-up camp. They were 100 feet above the top of this rock outcrop, and I kind of wondered when the golden eagles start nesting up here if the naval planes are kept out of the area too. God, when they go over, you have to plug your ears. And I think they definitely upset a nesting pair of golden eagles. Well, I'm going to do a little exploring. Check the area out. Go around and pick up some of the junk around here. I always like to fill a pail with whatever junk there is around the campsite. And then I set out in front of the trailer so that if I get a BLM official or wildlife official or whatever come up here, they will see what I've done and have a little second thoughts about asking me to move the camp or whatever. I found it does work. If they see you're more benefit to the area than a negative factor, they'll usually let you stay. Got a raven up there. Well, from what I can see, I walked around this area here, and I think during the winter months, if they had a camp in this rock formation, it was on this side. This is the south side. And good place to graze their horses. You know, they'd have a flat area out here. There's a million places where they could hide their stash. There's all kinds of little holes back in the rock formation. I think tomorrow I'll walk around this and check it out. This whole area here. I like to walk the area first and then see what's there and then start metal detecting. This thing right here is probably 100 feet high, maybe 150. Well, the wind picked up right on schedule. Show you the other area where I think they probably had their camp. This other area would be good for summertime. Now this area on the other side of the rock formation, I suspect that they used during the hot months, summer months. Be on the north side, quite a bit of shade over here. Actually, it's cold right now, shade. And there's a decent overhang so they could camp back in there. Somebody's written the word 1,000 over here in spray paint. I don't know exactly what that means, but it sounds interesting. And there's several caves up here for a lookout. You can stay up there. There's quite a good path leading down here. This being nice and shady. They probably had a lookout right here. The guy probably sat right here, like I'm going to do right now. Now, the old stagecoach station is down here in the wash, and the stagecoach line ran up through Freeman's Junction on up this valley toward Lake Isabella, and the other line ran on up Indian Wells Valley to the town of Bishop, California, which was another mining town. And the stagecoach line ran down through here, through the middle of Indian Wells Valley, clear down to Mojave. Now, all the guys had to do was just sit up here, and 30 miles away, they just have to watch for the dust from the stagecoach and the horses, and they'd get down there and be all set and waylay him. Well, the Indians use this area up here too for the same thing. So ever since the days of the Spaniards, this place has been used as a lookout for robbers. The other side of this rock formation has a lot of small caves too. All going to be checked over the next month. Gotta double check my viewfinder. Not sure if I'm on or not. I'll move her over just a little bit. I'm going to readjust this. I'll have the wind knocking the thing over here. Okay, that'll do it. Wind gets pretty stiff around these outcrops. A lot of smoke up on the ceilings in those caves. A lot of campfires. You got a little side cave right here. Just enough to keep the guy dry. Another one here. Goes back in about 4 feet. This is probably where they slept under this overhang here. People have been doing some digging. I'll put that deep-seeking head on and I can go down 3 feet. Lots of bat shit in here. But this way, what you see when you look out. Indian Wells Valley. This overhang has probably been used for, well, ever since man came into this area. Yeah, I'll concentrate along these places. But this right here was an excellent summer campsite, because they could have their horses grazing right down in here. They get all the shade they wanted from this north side here. Had to be the coolest place to be during the hot months. He's going to get the once over. This whole area, all out in here, I'm going to do a lot of concentrating. Go over every square inch. What I'm going to do, I've got 200 of those little orange survey flags. I'll put one every yard, make a huge grid so that I can find exactly where I've worked, and I won't be going over it again. Then after I finish up this whole region here, then I'll grid off another likely looking area. People have been doing some digging up here. There's an interesting place here too I've got to check out, see again. It's quite a depression somebody dug. I don't know exactly what the reason was for it, but I've got to check out this depression right here too. Got a hump of dirt here somebody threw up. It's not recent because these bushes here take a long time to grow. And walk over here. I like to get my videotaping done the first day or two and then metal detect the rest of the time. There's my camp right there. This right here was probably another lookout because they could stand here and look 20 miles off toward Mojave down here, and they could probably see the dust from the stagecoach or wagon train or whatever. Because that dust, boy, you can see it for a long, long way. Wind is pretty stiff. Something else I'll check out too are these, all of these holes here. There's hundreds of them. This almost looks like the skull of a horned beast. There's the two horns. The eyes, that's where the nose used to be. Some demeaning creature. Yeah, I think the wind probably created a lot of these gouges back in here. It'd be interesting if the wind hit that hole just right. Probably get a whistle. That's a better shot right there. Horned beast. If you've got an imagination, you can see almost anything in these rock formations. Like over here earlier, see the head of an eagle, beak. Well, there's the beak. There's an eye. And up around the head, and there's the crest. And down the neck. Like I said, you've got to have a real imagination. African crested eagle. This spot right here has had a lot of activity. It looks like the stone is pulverized. A lot of feet. It could have been another potential lookout spot. like I say, during the winter months, I think they had possibly a camp right in here because it's on the south side. It gets all that sunlight, nice and warm during the day. Sheltered by the wind. Got a lot of Joshua trees down here too. This elevation is lower than my other camp. If I don't move, I'm going to get blown off this son of a bitch. That wind wasn't so strong. Most of this formation over here is granite. There's a lot of mineralization over here. Looks like they've done some excavating. I'll have to check it out. You can see the mineral staining on the hill. It's different colored than the surrounding area. And there's some mineral staining down here on this hill. Looked like somebody put in a sturdy shaft. This is a rather interesting shot right here. Here on the back side, west side, you can see all the cubby holes they can use for hiding stuff. There's been an awful lot of bats using these cubby holes, staining up the dark staining. The light stuff is caused birds. Got another small cave over here. This has been used by cattle. There's a lot of cow pies in here. But I'll check it out anyway. A place like this might have been used actually any time of the year. Being out. And here's another view of camp. I'll tell you, a trailer's a wonderful thing. You know, you get tired of the scenery and you just pack her up and move. Just about as convenient as home, except you don't have the colossal amount of room, but you don't need it, really. At least I don't. I'm perfectly content with what I've got. Had a couple fellows go through with hounds in the back, and they took this road back in, and they said they're hunting mountain lions and bobcats. And I said, well, if you ever want a video made, I'll make one for you. it. It'll be here for about a month and a half. Let me know. Of course, I get the master copy, and I can do anything I want with it. Pick up a tripod. Yeah, this right here would be another good south-facing winter campsite right here. As I'll tell you, during the winter months, they tried to get all the heat they could. This south-facing side over here, you can see how much campfire activity they had, how dark that rock is from smoke. So this will be another area that I'll grid off and really go over. May not find anything, but you never can tell. And then this formation over here, I'm going to handle that completely separate. That'll be probably another 2-week project. But I think tomorrow I'll explore it, videotape it, and see what we got. Down below there you can see the traffic on Highway 14. It's a good highway. Here you've got rabbit brush, and this is chula cactus. This is about a foot high, a little over a foot wide. This is a creosote bush. And what else have I learned here? I go through my books and see what's growing around me. I'd like to know what it is. Well, this grass right here is Paiute grass. Rabbit's been eating it. I had to put my awning up. Getting a little breezy. I usually weigh my chairs down on the windward side with a couple of rocks. Keeps it in place. Dog sign up. I had another aluminum dish pan like this, and I had underneath the trailer. And when I went to move camp, forgot all about it. It's the first time I've done anything like that, at least on this trip. And that's what happened. Of course, I've got 3 of them, so no problem. They aren't that much, $5. But usually I'm a little more careful than that. Shows I'm human, I guess. See another bush out here that I can show you. Plant life out here is interesting. Has to adapt to a real dry, harsh, windy environment. Now the creosote bush, when you've got an extended dry season, a bigger leaf will fall off, a smaller leaf comes on, and when it's still dry for a long time, that small leaf drops off, a smaller leaf comes on. It's adapting to its drought condition, I guess. But I'll tell you, this stuff really burns. Even green, it burns really good. Oh, down here they've got a gold processing plant, and I was talking to Walt, and he said he just wasn't really sure about what they were doing down there. Because initially, when they built the place, they didn't have any permits or anything, and the state shut them down until they started getting permits. But they are busy down there, but he just doesn't know where they're getting the material that has the gold in it, gold-bearing material. One of these clandestine marijuana factories. Got a lot of coyotes up here too. Tracks all over the place here. Finding below the rocks, I've been finding a lot of rabbit jaw bones and skulls. A lot of small bird life here, but I haven't seen any roadrunners, and I can't figure it out. The lizards are all over underneath these big bushes. I haven't seen any snakes. I guess the snakes like 100 plus degrees. Anything below that, they tend to go in the caves and gopher holes. Well, see you tomorrow. Oh, you look down below in the Indian Wells Valley, you can see a huge sandstorm starting up. Wind is coming right out of the south. Well, there's one edge of it. It goes right down through. It's all that kind of a white haze. Hopefully I won't get any of that up here. I've heard from some people that get out on the desert, you get a sandstorm like that with 60-mile-per-hour winds, it takes the paint right off your vehicle. The sun is just dropping behind this peak over here. So my camp is in the shade at 3:45 in the afternoon. Now over here, my Black Mountain camp, that was in the shade at 4:30. Trailer's not rocking at all. I've got it perfectly balanced. This side over here I dug down about 6 inches. And on the other side over here, I blocked it up and put wedges in the front and back. So it's level front to back, side to side. It has to be pretty level to use your refrigerator, because if it isn't, you'll end up with your system locking up. Then you have to have your coils replaced. I picked up a pail full of junk. It's one of the first things I do at my campsites. I hate to look at tin cans while I stand in a particular place. I always pick up an eyesight all the way around. This morning it was about 44 degrees, and a lot of homes down here in Ridgecrest have wood-burning stoves. Well, down in the valley above the city, it was just a haze from all the wood burners. My God, I don't know where they get their wood though. I've seen it for sale in supermarkets and advertising $180 a cord. Yeah, that dust storm is spreading up the valley now. Apparently the wind is blowing harder down there than it is up here. Now when it gets real bad, you can't see the hills or anything on the other side of the valley. It's just a whiteout. Oh, today is December 15th. 9 more shopping days. Well, right now it's about 8 o'clock in the morning and 32 degrees outside. It's supposed to hit 60 today. Geez, I hate this cold weather. I know what you're getting out there. I'm kind of rubbing it in. Yeah, it's supposed to rain this afternoon, so we'll probably do a lot of letter reading and reading. Maybe go up to a little metal detector. But it's awful foggy down there in the valley. The sun is just trying to break through out there. Nice and warm in here, though. I've got up to 75. And
a U.S. military cargo plane has flown to Hanoi to pick up the
just
remains
gonna
of
put breakfast on right now.
missing in action since the Vietnam
With
War.
potatoes, eggs, and bacon. Got peeled
today.
potatoes though.
The National Commission on Working Women
Had to fire Juanita.
Wouldn't
do windows. Well, I like to meet a Juanita. I've seen some good-looking women down there in Ridgecrest. Ooh. We've got a college down there, a lot of college girls. A lot of service men's wives work in stores down there. Of course, I stay away from that. Nope, you've got to be single. The wind last night switched into the north, and been hitting about 40 miles an hour. You see the fog down there in the valley. But I'll tell you, with that wind chill, 32 degrees, it's pretty damn cold out here. The sun's trying to peek through. According to radio, the snow level is supposed to drop down to 4,000 feet. And I'm at 3,000, so that's getting close. But it never lasts. You'll get snow and it'll be gone in a couple days. Go back inside where it's warm. Oh, no disrespect, Mom, but I found another use for your pillow you made me. It keeps my warm air in. The only time I put that up there is when it's cold. Now I can usually tell how windy it is by my chimes. Well, when they're like this, when it sounds like that, it's 50 miles an hour, and when it sounds like this, it's 40, and then when you get an occasional tinkle, it's 30. It's not very scientific, but well, I just had a whirlwind come through. It took my table away, my chairs. See if my table's still in one piece. I think I'd better put them up on the landscapes. I'm not going to try and pick this thing up. It's going to turn into a sail. I'll have to put the camera back. Well, I'm glad I wasn't sitting in the chair. Might have gone for a ride. Pretty cold today. Noon we had 43 degrees. And right now it's bitter. Good morning. Well, this is Friday, December 16th. It's raining outside. It's snowing above 3,500 feet. I'm at 3,200. It's getting close. Very windy. Windy the last 2 days and 2 nights. It's hard to sleep when it's windy like that. They had an earthquake down in Palm Springs. It measured 0.4 on the Richter scale. The wind up here, the way it shook the trailer last night, it measured about 0.7. Really enjoy your letters. I'm reading John's here. He's a good writer. I hope he isn't embarrassed. I want to read a little piece of it here. Sorry, John. I did not make the Boone and Crockett record book with my mule deer. This could have something to do with the fact that I did not shoot one. And it goes on to describe camp life. Well, down here he'd like to come out here, possibly in late winter or early spring, and I'd love to have any of you out here. I wrote him a little letter here. This is kind of tongue-in-cheek. I hope he realizes I'm only kidding. I wrote, "Your folks," this is to John and Sue, the kids. "I would enjoy having you folks out anytime. I love your children, but please do not under any circumstances bring them with you. Mom would love to watch them for a week or a month." Sorry, Mom. She told me so. Honest. If you should bring them, I will set up a tent in the next valley. I will stay there. I hope he's got a sense of humor. I was like, his kids are sweet. I really enjoy seeing them. But you know, everybody's kids are the same. They get crotchety and rambunctious, and this trailer's only 17 feet. But I know if he came out, it would probably just be him. Maybe Dennis. Well, maybe Sue, if she wants to get away from the winter snow and temperatures. I wrote a little bit here about a gold prospector I met. Wrote, "Let me give you an example of what the gold fever business can do to a man. I was talking to an old prospector on the Yuba River across from a church where a funeral was being held. The old guy was working his sluice box and picking out the small nuggets. After a while, the funeral procession drove by, and he took off his hat, watched for a moment, then went back to work. I told him I thought it was very nice of him to show respect for the deceased. He said, 'Well, it's the least I could do. We would have been married 33 years tomorrow.'" I thought that was a good story. I really enjoyed that. I really liked Dad's letter, too. He described all of the hunting and fishing activity that you guys had during the year. Yeah, I was really surprised on the coon and muskrat and mink prices. Now, the last time we had a weak dollar overseas, the Japanese and the Europeans bought tremendous amounts of fur and brought the price up. That's when fox were 75 and rats were $8. Well, I really don't know what happened this time because the dollar's fallen just as much as it did before, back in 79, I think it was. Well, I'm really curious on Walt's trophies, what you ended up getting on the rhino horn. Now, I know on the black market they get $5,000 for the two horns, the big one and the small one. And the elephant ivory I was curious about too. That's bringing about $25 to $50 a pound. So if you had a 100-pounder, you'd be looking at anywhere from $2,500 to $5,000. But yeah, just curiosity. I just wondered what you guys end up getting on some of those. I would have enjoyed myself being there selling some of that stuff, because I think I would have done quite well. I did pretty good on the books and stuff I sold, but I've got that gun show fever like Dad has, and Dennis and John. The thrill of dickering and the agony of not selling anything. You can probably hear that wind out there. It just rolls this trailer back and forth. It's right out of the north. The trailer's facing the north. I've got the pickup parked on the west side because occasionally I get a tremendous gust around this rock formation, and I don't want to have the thing hit the trailer broadside. It'd be a bitch to be trapped in here because the door's on the bottom side. Well, it was nice to have the Oakleys over too. Kind of wondered if they watched any of my tapes. You know, since I wasn't there, they could see what I'm doing out here. But I really enjoy your letters. It's like getting letters when I was back in the service. It means a lot to me. Now, eventually, I'm going to move my camp down to Quartzsite, Arizona, and there's a claim down there I'm going to work. The elevation is lower. It's about 500 feet. Here I'm up at 3,000, and it will get cold up here during January and February. And Quartzsite's only 100 miles south of Las Vegas. So you and Mom should take a late Las Vegas, another trip in late winter to get away from the winter weather. I'll drive up and spend some time with you. Pull some slot levers. Watch Dad play blackjack. I'll be standing on the other side so I can tell him what the other guy's got. Oh, Colleen wrote a nice letter here too. If she's watching the tape, I don't want to embarrass her, but I mentioned Gordon had his hernia surgery. Weather's been kind of rotten. This is December 1st. They received 2 inches of snow the night before. Mentioned Dennis. Dennis has been going out a lot lately and found out that there are women out there that actually cook and clean. She underlined cook and clean. Don't know if I should have read that, but it says, now he's having a ball. I'll bet you he is, too. Well, Saturday they're going, well, according to, I don't know what the date would be on there, December, first week of December. Saturday they're going to Rose and Gary's 19-year-old daughter's wedding. And unfortunately she zigged when she should have zagged, and now she's marrying a real bum. It'll be interesting to see how this lasts, or how long it lasts. And I feel sorry for the guy having Rose for mother-in-law. Everything I say here is just, you know, I'm being light about it. I'm not being critical or anything. Well, I've got a girl in Hartford, Connecticut. I write her long letters. She's a girl that was on safari with me in East Africa. And sends me cards and letters. Sent me a couple little books. Well, I like this picture right here. That's a couple nice deer. John mentioned the fact that these deer were shot before Dennis and John got down there, and I kind of wondered, you know, how far before they got there and when the season started. But I'm sure they were shot in season. I know Dan would shoot a deer out of season. I know he wouldn't. He wouldn't do that. Oh, what else we got here? Oh, this is a card Karen sent me with a leopard. No, actually it's cheetah. Yeah, cheetah. I will not read her letters. She gets rather intimate. Well, today I'm going to spend the day writing letters. Got a long letter to John here. I'm going to write a long letter to you and Mom. And I'm going to write a letter to Ed Dunkel. I sent him a postcard of my location here, and he sent a letter the other day. And he's the white-haired, bearded fella in the fishing video where I added the music. I don't know if Colleen brought that tape down or not, but when he left Sarah Totten, where I was camp host, he went back home to Sierra City, down Central California, and he took that copy of the cassette with him so he could copy it. And then I said, well, tell you what, you send this to my address in Michigan. He sent up Colleen, and he sent Colleen a letter. And I mentioned to Colleen if she'd bring that down and keep all the tapes together. But it's a good tape of Ed. Plus there's an article, well actually two articles on Ed that were written in a newspaper. Well, Ed writes, I must say you left up here at a good time. When I started down to this area, I stopped at Ed's for a week and prospected around his property and his gold mine. He says after the day you left, it snowed like hell, a foot or so. He uses hell quite a bit in his letters. mentions the fact that I should look for a woman with a lot of gold instead of just looking for the gold. Now they're buying a new pickup truck. They're selling their RV, the RV they had. And they're getting a trailer, about a 20 plus foot. Now, when he was up there, I would take him down, well, actually upriver, to where the Scott River flowed into the Klamath River, because all the salmon were piling up in this hole down there. And every morning I'd run him up there and then come back after lunch and pick him up. And then his wife I'd take down to the grocery store, pick up groceries, because with their RV, once they put the awning out and had everything set up, and they didn't want to take it apart again, and it's a lot of rigmarole. So he writes here, then I'll not be locked into one campsite. Not in every camp you cannot find a chauffeur like you. Oh, and Ruth, his wife, ordered a metal detector. She liked the one I had. And while he's fishing, she'll be looking for gold. Their road is a real steep, winding down through the big trees. He put the thing in by himself with a bulldozer, and it's got the potential. You can be stuck down there all winter long. It's just it's about a mile, good steep grade all the way down the mountain into the valley. It's the only way in, only way out. His neighbor is one of the heirs to the Skippy peanut butter fortune. The guy has never worked, never filed income tax, nice big place, and Ed says that he is also one of the big-time dope dealers in Southern California. Well, I don't know if I should repeat that. It's probably not true, but he's got a big place, a lot of bucks. Oh, I don't know what else I can tell you here. I put all my cards up here, up on the window. The only people I bought presents for this year was Amber and Anthony. I don't really have the money to buy for everybody, and plus, as Mom knows, the postage is outrageous. I think that care package ran a few dollars just for the postage. I really enjoy everything you put in there, Mom. It's fantastic. Chocolate pudding. I've had chocolate pudding 4 nights in a row. See, I don't buy things like that. Left up to me. I'm kind of frugal with my money. I get the most nutritional, energy type foods. Well, I get my vegetables and dairy and eggs and meat. Although I shoot a lot of my own meat. Wouldn't want to live on jackrabbit too long though. It's tougher than hell. You gotta cook it, pound it, and beat it. And you gotta smother it with seasoning because it doesn't taste anything like a cottontail. It tastes like a sagebush. But I really enjoy your letters, and I love that care package. And thank you very, very much for the check. That was great. Oh, I'm getting my gold prospector. On days like this, I'll read my books. I've got at least 100 books here, and I've got my television, Get excellent reception. And I've got my radio. I've got National Public Radio, which is my favorite. Oh, this is kind of interesting. I found it in the wash below camp the other day. It's a series of little sand balls that are all hooked together. And I kind of have a feeling it might be a prehistoric petrified rabbit shit. I don't know, I've never seen anything like it. Actually, it looks like you take this knob off right here, it looks a little like a Scotty dog. You see it? No? I didn't think so. Well, look, so you got two ears. I'll take this thing off, and you got the wide Scotty bushy nose. You got the legs, the back, tail. Now you see it. Okay. That's been so nasty. I haven't gotten out with my metal detector. I'm waiting for the rain to stop and the wind to die. And we're getting snow up on the mountain. And I think I'll say so long for now. I'll start writing a letter to Mom and Dad. But the only problem is I won't mail it until probably January, first Monday in January. That's when I'll probably mail it. Even though I'm writing it on the 16th. Because once I set up a camp, I don't leave until I run out of water. And usually my water will last about 2 weeks. So it'll be about 2 weeks before I mail them. Oh, this is December 16th. I moved my camp from over here. The north wind was hitting it all night long. And moved it over here. Rock formation cuts all that wind off. And I put a water catcher down here with my tub right below. Catch water for showers and cleaning. Well, 48 degrees right now. Quite the rock formations here. All kinds of holes, and caves, and crevices. And a little bit of snow back here. Nice thing about it down here, you get snow like that, and once the sun comes out, it's gone. It doesn't last. Not like back in good old Michigan. Yeah, when it clears off, do a little metal detecting. I think what I'll do is grid off this whole area first, put my flags out, and I'll grid this off down here. My video camera's complaining because it's too cold. Yeah, now when I sit at my desk, or I should say my table in the trailer, as I write or eat dinner, I'm looking down on the valley. Before the valley was behind me. The sky is clearing over there in the northeast. It'd be nice if it would get over here tomorrow. A band of sunlight up there. Jets have been flying by all day. Seems like they're taking advantage of this nasty weather to get some practice in. Makes for a more realistic combat situation, I guess. I'm looking for the jet, but I don't see him. They'll fly real low. They'll skim along the top of these formations out here. Must be up above the clouds. Surprising, I didn't get any snow on Black Mountain over here. That's about as high as that peak behind me. They got the snow. It is kind of pretty back there, though. As long as I don't have to shovel it. Now they've got a snow advisory for the Tehachapi Mountains, which are over here, about 40 miles, and they're quite high. That's where I drove through coming out of the San Joaquin Valley. Over the hump. Well, I'm going to get back inside where it's nice and warm. Some blue sky popping through up here. Well, there's 100 places, 1,000 places to hide things in these little crevices and holes in the rock formation. Looks like a giant sponge. Well, this is the morning of December 17th. Getting a little bit of sun. I rigged up my awning last night to catch some rainwater. Used for taking showers. Let's see what the temperature is. It's dropped down to. It's pretty the way the mist hangs around some of those ridges. Well, it's supposed to hit the low 70s today. I'm curious as to whether that snow is going to last. It's not really that high up. Didn't have any trouble with wind last night. That rock right there really cuts that north wind. Well, I'm starting my metal detecting. I've got my orange flag grid set up. I just follow right up the lines with my metal detector. That way I don't miss any ground at all. And when I finish with this spot, then I'll just keep moving it over and check out the logical places first, and then the illogical places later. This is historically, I think it's been used for a campsite for quite some time. It's on the south side of the formation. It's a good winter campsite. Tremendous amount of campfire soot up on the rock here, and good place to keep the horses. Probably put them down in here for grazing. Now when I finish with this formation here, after I've worked all the way around it and checked out these holes up in here all the way around, then I'll move over to the next formation, take a week or two and work all of that, and then go up to the third formation over here over the ridge and work that. May seem like a lot of work, but so is a 9-to-5 factory job. And this is fun. What I'll do is angle her first. I'll go down through, work the whole area in the beginning with this 6-inch head. Does a good job of picking up things from the surface on down to about a foot. Then I'll go over it with this 12-inch head. This is good for 4 feet. But you're liable to miss things that are on the surface or real shallow, because the beam goes down into a cone shape, and does tend to miss small coins on the surface. Well, I'll turn the camera off. If I find something, I'll turn it back on again. Beautiful day. Well, after about 3 hours, I didn't find much. 1969 D penny and 1978 D penny. There's something here, I don't know what it could be. Not sure what it is. I don't think it's whole, but it's different. And 300 H&H Magnum. And looks like it could be a zipper tag of some type. And I don't know what this thing is. There's millions of cartridge rounds and slugs. It's plain junk. People drive right up to this spot and they just get out with their rifles and cut loose. But when I get on the other side, I think it might be a little better because they can't drive up to it. See what happens. nobody drove out there, they'd wonder what the hell's that idiot doing. Now there was a skeleton up there with a Winchester. This whole rock formation is just a series of holes and cavelets. Well, this is December 18th. Had 28 degrees last night. Supposed to hit about 65 today. Had a little unwanted visitor last night. A little mouse started chewing the fiberglass wheel well down here. Had a lot of food stored down here. It was after that. So I moved the food, put aluminum foil along that portion there. Keep him from getting back in there. I'm going to have to buy a trap. You know, yesterday I found a cartridge. I'm not exactly sure what the devil it is. I'll put this thing on macro setting. See if we can get it right here. Patience. There it is. Some way. It'll focus on this thing here. It's not going to work. Well, I thought I'd get a close up. It says 36, and it's got P198. It's got an S with a star, and it's got a 7. Might be just somebody's home reload. Yeah, I'll switch this back to manual, or I should say autofocus. I found some little Indian skinning devices here. They put some real fine chips on the edge. Things just like a razor. And here's the other one. Probably small skinning jobs. But definitely man-made. They just took old chips out of the edge of there. Well, get out there and do some reloading. Every day I do a little work in my my African notebook here. Do some writing. It's a lot of fun going through there and looking at the pictures and the places. Now these are a couple boys up with their father doing a little rock climbing.
Oh, you got sound too.
Oh, definitely.
That's Michael over there on the right.
Now this is Michael from
Ridgecrest.
Ridgecrest.
And then Galen is up there on the left.
And Galen is from
He's from Ridgecrest.
Ridgecrest. I hope he doesn't fall.
Mountain goat. Does that have a zoom?
Yeah, I hit the zoom button. I'll zoom in on Mike.
I can't leave my rocks in. It's the damage.
Mike is just like my son Anthony. All energy. Oh, this is December 19th. The fellow was over yesterday with his 2 boys, invited me over for some home cooking. They live down there in Ridgecrest. He's got a government job, maintenance on the airport down there. I'm drying my towels right now. All right, now it's 9:30 in the morning and it's about 50 degrees. Last night it was 28. If you look off to the south here, you can see the air pollution from Los Angeles. The wind is right out of that direction. See that kind of a haze right through here? And Los Angeles is really not that close, about 70 miles away. There's just a tremendous amount of pollution from the cars on the freeways. And it definitely affects the weather and people with respiratory problems. Puts a dark coating on the snow, so when the sun hits it, it's more likely to melt. They had a lot of snow on the Tehachapi Mountains, just over the ridge here. all along here. And talking to Kelly yesterday, that fellow that was here, he said that whenever they get snow in the valley here, it's usually gone the same day, just never lasts. But the Sierra Nevadas just to the west here keep most of the nasty weather from coming in. Yesterday I did a lot of exploring up in here and found a pack rat nest, and there was a piece of Indian pottery in there. I brought it back to camp. I'm going to explore this peak over here too. You can't really appreciate the size of these things. A person at the base of this would be barely visible. And this thing right here probably covers 60 acres. Person on top up here would be maybe 1/8 of an inch high. Yesterday I climbed to the top of this up here, and right through here there's like a, well, maybe a 1/4 acre flat just on the other side here, and I am going to metal detect up there. It looks like a good place for a campsite years ago. Get up high and away from the Indians or the law or whatever. This is the piece of Indian pottery I found. It's got a lot of age on it. This was the top edge, rounded. Can't really make out any designs or anything on it. Just where their fingers might have caught a piece of large granular sand, put little imprints in there. But I think I'll go back up there and take that pack rat nest apart, see if I can find more pieces. It's probably hundreds of years old. It'd be nice to find the whole thing glued together. If you find them in one piece and they can be dated, you're looking at hundreds of dollars. But broken pieces don't bring too much. Right now I'm reading about the ghost towns in Death Valley. Excellent book. A lot of pictures. This right here is where I'm at, Ridgecrest. And I'm going to put this on manual focus. See if I can get this in a little sharper. There we go. That's where I get my groceries. That's the town down here that you see. And I pick up my mail here at Randsburg. Now this is the route of the 20 Mule Team Borax wagons. Harmony Borax Works up at Furnace Creek. I took this route down through here, through Winter Pass, and down to Mojave, which is down here. All of these black dots are ghost towns. There's a lot of them. Cracker Jack, Silver Lake, Saratoga Spring, Salt Spring, Confidence Mill, Ashford Mill, Hermogoso, Greenwater. Little town of Greenwater. Started out just a few tents. Most of the mining camps when they first started out were just tent camps. And there's a 20 horse team borax train. This is a mining company, mining town, and let's see, this would be Ryan, mining town of Ryan. This is a more modern picture, 1920s. This is Hermogosa. And this is Death Valley here. I kind of like this picture here. You've got everybody in their Sunday best. A few women in the picture. Wonder how many of the fellows in this Goldfield, Nevada picture are swindlers and crooks. None of them look like they're hurting financially. The mining camps had a tremendous population of swindlers, gamblers, cutthroats, murderers. There's an adobe building. Here they're having a rock drilling contest. Sounds exciting. Whole town turned out. This building right here is made of champagne bottles and cement. I don't know if you can make that out or not. There's thousands of champagne bottles. Today these buildings are deserted, ghost town. Railroad depot and Rhyolite. Typical mining town, small buildings. This is let's see what camp this is here. Well, it's originally a stagecoach stop. It's in Death Valley. Doesn't say. I think possibly it's Leadfield. This is the beginning of Lee, California. I'll switch this back to. See if I can get that in clear. There we go. In the back of the book, they give you hints on desert travel. This is the 10 Commandments of traveling in the desert. Oh, I've got half a dozen of these books. One on Arizona and Southern California, Alaska. This book right here Dan gave me for Christmas a couple years ago. Picked this book up right here at one of Dad's gun shows. Good for reference. You know, if you want to visit a ghost town, you can see what it's like before you get there. Well, I'm going to get my metal detector and get to work. I keep calling it work. I don't know why I do that. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy it. Found something else yesterday. Not sure what the devil it is, but almost looks like coral or something. I pick up a lot of this kind of stuff. Anything out of the ordinary, I usually pick up. These little what I call an Indian pocket knife, or sharp as a devil. It's like a razor. Chipped the whole thing out. Chips off the sides. I had these on the other day, but I find them interesting. This has been flaked off. Just hold it like this and cut. And then I've got this bigger piece here I found up on Black Mountain. This is part of something even bigger, but it was where the vehicles park their cars. They pretty well crunched it up. My camera is making more and more noises all the time. I'm not sure if it's just being dusty or what. There's a bunch of these down in the wash. I think I'll pick up some more. Anthony might like one. It's kind of a cemented sand. I'm going to take a walk up this wash right here and end up on top here and then shoot the scenery. Such a sunny, rather warm day today. I'm going to do a little video this morning and mentally take this out. These washes make nice roads, but boy, I'll tell you, if it's raining, it's the last place in the world you want to be. Got a lot of black sand in this wash here too. Sometimes you'll have gold along with the black sand. Black sand's a heavy mineral. There's a lot of it right here. Probably should pan some of this. See if we come up with any color. found that piece of Indian pottery in this pack rat nest right here. Sure is a windy sucker. You see that area I flagged out the other day on the 2 cents? Went up on top here yesterday. Can't take the camera up because it's too hard climbing. See the snow they got up here in the Tehachapi Mountains. Wind is about 40 miles an hour right off the mountains west.